Hi there, and welcome to a project video where you'll build and deploy a beautiful website using HTML and CSS. We'll create a uniquely designed sushi ordering landing page with custom animations, with a navigation bar, a creative hero section that invites the user to feel the taste of Japanese foods, an About Us section, popular food section, trending sushi and drinks, as well as a newsletter sign-up and a footer. This sushi website is the best HTML and CSS project-based tutorial that you can currently find on YouTube. Oh, and I almost forgot. The website is entirely mobile responsive, which means it'll provide your users with the best experience, no matter which device they use. Whether you're just starting or consider yourself an intermediate developer, mastering the fundamental building blocks of the web is crucial to your success. Why bother learning HTML and CSS when libraries and frameworks like React or Next.js are available? By diving into the fundamentals, you will gain a deeper understanding of the building blocks that make these libraries and frameworks so powerful, allowing you to leverage them to their fullest potential. After you develop this app, I'll even teach you how to deploy to the internet so you can share it with your friends, potential employers, and put it on your portfolio. You might be wondering, what are the prerequisites for building such a fantastic website? This course is entirely beginner-friendly. Think of this as your first HTML and CSS website. Alongside building this application, you'll learn the most critical technologies needed to build any website: HTML, CSS, Visual Studio Code, animations, mobile responsiveness, JavaScript, and Vite. We're going to start simple and then move to more complex concepts as we go. I'll explain every step of the way. In this video, you will gain knowledge on various topics, including the use of CSS variables, importing CSS files into other CSS files, understanding and effectively using flex and position properties in CSS, creating smooth and subtle animations to enhance user experience, implementing the BEM method for naming classes, maintaining a well-organized file and folder structure, and embracing the principles of writing clean code and much more. If this video reaches 20,000 likes, I'm recording more HTML and CSS videos. Also, based on your requests, I've compiled a valuable resource outlining the Visual Studio Code extensions that I personally use. This comprehensive guide includes essential tips and recommended extensions that can significantly enhance your experience as a developer. And the best part is that you can access this resource entirely for free. Simply click the link in the description and grab your copy to supercharge your Visual Studio Code setup. With that said, let's dive straight into the video. Before we start building out our project, let's first get the hosting and the domain name for our new website, your portfolio, or any site you'll create in the future. Hostinger is my personal recommendation, and right now they're offering a crazy deal, so I simply needed to show this to you. The link to the website you're seeing right now on the screen with an extra discount in it is in the description. Let's visit it and click the Claim Deal button to see if it's really as good as it sounds. We are getting premium web hosting. For about $3 a month, you can host 100 websites. You also receive 100 gigabytes of SSD storage, unlimited free SSL certificate, which means that you get HTTPS security, and most importantly, you get a free email, but on top of that, you get a free domain name. Hostinger has a great price-to-quality ratio, high-speed servers, 24/7 chat support, and most importantly, developers love using it, as you can see by these exceptional ratings on third-party platforms. We're going to create an entire sushi website. So we want to have a custom domain name to be credible. For every industry-standard application, such as the one you're building in this video, we need it to be fast, reliable, and trustworthy. And all of the features you're getting with this plan, such as a custom domain name, email, and speed, makes all the difference. Since I partnered with Hostinger, they decided to give you an even bigger discount. You can find the link and a unique discount code in the description. Once you visit the link in the description, click Claim Deal, and then Add to Cart. Here, we can choose the period of our hosting. In this case, I'm going to choose 48 months, since that's going to allow me to save the most money and get free 3 months. After that, you can scroll down and select your payment method, but more importantly, you can add a special JavaScript Mastery coupon code that's going to allow you to get an even bigger discount. After you complete the purchase, you'll be redirected to the Hostinger's dashboard. I'll see you there. As you can see, I'm personally using Hostinger for all of my company's websites. If you purchased premium hosting, then you should be able to see this yellow setup button here, and then also the claim domain button to get your free domain. Let's go ahead and immediately set up our premium web hosting so that after that, we can focus only on development. You can click Start Now, skip, we're going to create our own website, claim a free domain. You can do this at the end of the video too, in case you want to spend some time thinking about the proper domain name. In this case, I'm going to do 3JS products. That domain is available, and it's quite a good one. So let's go ahead and continue. And our domain is being registered. There we go. It's done. Click Control Panel, and there we go. Everything is set up. Now what's left to do is to build this phenomenal 3JS AI-powered application, and then we're going to deploy to the internet at the end of this video using the file manager. Let's get started. As we always do on the JavaScript Mastery YouTube channel, we're going to start from the bare beginnings by creating a new empty folder on our desktop, and let's call it Sushi. I've also opened an empty Visual Studio Code window. If you're new to web development, Visual Studio Code is the most popular editor out there. It has a built-in terminal as well as a plethora of different extensions and shortcuts that you can use. So if you don't have it already, download it for your own operating system. Another important thing you need before we begin is Node.js. It is a JavaScript runtime environment that's going to allow you to run and create our project. So download the recommended version for your own operating system. Once you've done that, you can simply drag and drop the empty folder into an empty Visual Studio Code window. Once you're here, you can go to View and then Terminal to open Visual Studio Code's built-in terminal. To create our application, we're going to use a tool called Vite. The only thing you have to do to get started is run the command npm create vite at latest. So within our Visual Studio Code, we can do just that. Type the command npm create vite at latest and then also add the /. This is going to ensure to create it within our current repository. Press enter, and then it might ask you to install Vite. If that happens, simply press Y and then enter. The second choice we have to make is to choose a framework. In this case, we can go with vanilla JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. And a variant is going to be JavaScript. Immediately, we can see some files and folders appear right here. We're going to begin from bare beginnings, so we can delete most of the files here. Counter.js, javascript.svg, main.js, and style.css. Simply right-click them and then click delete. Also, our index.html contains some code already, so we want to completely clean it out. Now we are ready to create our base file and folder structure. We're going to create a dedicated folder for our CSS, a dedicated folder for a bit of JavaScript that we're going to have, and finally, we need our assets. The assets are going to be all of these great images that you can see on our page. These sticks and sushi, more sushi, and even more sushi. So I need you to have these images so we can immediately focus on what matters, and that is development. For that reason, I prepared all of the assets in the zipped folder down below. So simply go to the description, download the zipped folder, unzip it, and then paste it right here. It should look something like this. You're going to have a lot of assets, and that's exactly what we need. Finally, before we focus on our index.html structure, we can create a base file in the CSS folder called style.css. And we can create another within the JS folder called script.js. These are going to be our main points of contact for styling and some light JavaScript. In the description down below, you'll also be able to find a GitHub gist that contains the starter CSS file. You can simply paste it right here. Even though it might appear like a lot of lines, we're going to go through all of this together. Here, we're importing some of the fonts we want to use for the website, as well as importing other sections, all of which we're going to create ourselves. So no worries, just put it here, but throughout this entire video, we're going to go through everything together. And you can repeat the same procedure with the starter JavaScript script. So simply paste it here, and you're going to notice that this is nothing more than some simple imports of the assets, as well as the sushi names, so we don't have to type them ourselves within HTML. With that said, we can move into our index.html file to create the base structure of our application. You can begin by typing just the exclamation mark, which is going to allow you to create a base HTML structure, which looks something like this. Inside of here, you can give a name to your application, such as Sushi-Man. And we can also add a favicon. That's a little icon that shows in your tab on the browser. So let's pick one of the assets right here. I really like this Sushi9, so let's simply copy it and paste it within the public folder right here. And we can rename it to just sushi.png. Now, within our HTML, we can reference it by saying link, rel is going to be icon, type is going to be image /png, and the href is the path pointing to it, which is going to be /sushi.png. Finally, inside of the head, we also need to link to our CSS style sheet. So we can say link. It's going to have a rel equal to style sheet, and href is going to be css/style.css. Finally, at the end, before we close the body, we can add a script tag. This is going to allow us to reference our JavaScript file, which is contained in the js/script.js, and it's going to have a type equal to module. And with that, we're ready to start creating the structure of our application. We can begin by just creating one single h1 file here, and we can call it Sushi-Man. And we can run the application. To run the application, you need to go to View and then Terminal, and then run npm install. This is going to install all the necessary dependencies needed to run the application. Later on, we're going to add an additional one as well to implement animations. Finally, once the dependencies have been installed, you can simply run npm run dev. That's going to spin up the application on this port, so simply hold Ctrl and click the link to open it. And there we go, we are live, although we have just one simple error. It's complaining that within the style.css, we don't yet have the header.css file. So let's see what that is about. If you go to style.css, you're going to notice that we are importing some other CSS files that we haven't yet created. So for now, we can simply comment them out by selecting the text, holding Control, and pressing /. As we implement each one of these sections, we can uncomment the specific CSS file. Now, if we go back, we have a beautiful background. We have the Sushi-Man H1 right here, as well as the title and this wonderful looking favicon at the top, which means that we are ready to get started with the development. To be able to see the changes that we make in our code live, we can put our browser side by side with the editor. There we go. We are ready to roll. Maybe we're gonna roll some sushi along the way as well. First, we're going to start with the header. So right within the body, we can create a new HTML5 semantic header tag. Within it, we can create a new nav element. That nav is going to have a class equal to header __ nav. Later on, I'm going to explain why we're using dashes or double underscores. It is all a part of a CSS BEM model. It's going to make much more sense soon enough. Within our nav, we're going to have a div, and that div is going to have a class equal to header underscore underscore logo. Of course, that's going to contain the logo itself. So inside of there, we can add the h4 tag that's going to say sushi man. And below it, we can create a div that's going to have a class equal to header underscore underscore logo dash overlay. Now going below this div, still within the nav, we can create a new UL element, an unordered list. This element is going to have a class equal to header underscore underscore menu. And then it's going to have a couple of list items. The first list item is going to have an anchor tag inside of it. So it's actually a clickable link. And that anchor tag is going to have an href equal to hash menu. And it's going to say menu. If we save this, you can see it appear right here. Finally, we can duplicate that li a couple more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second one is going to point to food, and it's going to say food. The third one is going to be services, and it's going to say services. Then we're going to have about dash us, and it's going to say about us. And finally, we're going to have a search. This is not going to be an anchor tag. Rather, it's going to be a self-closing image tag that's going to have a source equal to assets/search.svg. And every image needs to have an alt tag. So we can specify what it is, and it's going to be search. Now, if we save this, we can see all 4 menu items as well as the search icon. Great. Finally, if we are on mobile devices, then we won't be able to see all of these elements on the screen. So below this UL, we need to create another UL. It's going to be for mobile devices. So it's going to have a class equal to header underscore underscore menu dash mobile. And it's going to render just one li. That's going to render an image that's going to have a source equal to assets/menu.svg. And it's going to have an alt tag equal to menu. Now, if we save this, you can see the white menu appear here as well, but later on, they're going to be divided depending on which device size do we visit. And believe it or not, this is it for our header. You can now decide to collapse specific elements within it, like the div, the UL, and another UL, and you can see that our header contains a nav and everything else is contained right here. But now that we have developed the HTML structure for this, let's go into our Explorer. And within the CSS folder, let's create a new folder called sections. Inside of sections, we can create a new CSS file called header.css. And inside of the header, we can start adding the styles for our HTML. But of course, for these styles to work, we need to uncomment these imports. For now, let's uncomment just the header CSS one to show you how it works. So inside of the header.css, we can start writing the styles for the classes we have just created. First of all, we want to target the header. So how do we do that? Well, inside of the index.html, we have a nav with a class header underscore underscore nav. So we can say dot targeting the class element header underscore underscore nav. We can give it a display equal to flex as well as overflow equal to hidden. If we save this, you're going to notice that the elements are going to appear in a row. First the title, then the UL, and then the menu. If you prefer, you can have the header CSS file on the right side of your index.html. That way, you'll be able to see which class name you are editing. But since I want you to be able to see the website and the changes we make live, I'm gonna just have the header CSS shown at one time and then index.html at another. So we know that the next element is the .header underscore underscore logo. To it, we can give a class of flex1, which means that it's going to expand however long it needs to, and also a display flex. We want to give it a position equal to relative, and finally a padding equal to 20 pixels to give it some space. And now you can see that the sushi man is on the left side and the menu is on the right side. Just for reference, this is how our navigation bar is supposed to look like. So let's proceed getting it a bit closer to that. The next class we want to target is the .header __ logo dash overlay. We can give it a position of absolute, which means that it's not going to be bound to other elements on the page. It's going to be absolutely positioned. So with position absolute, we can also give it an inset variable of 0. In this case, a width of 100%, a background color of, and now this is going to be interesting. I'm not just going to say red right here. So you can see that makes it red. Or maybe some kind of a variant of red, a bit less sharp, like this. No, we're not going to do that, because that way, every time that you use the same instance of the color, you would have to manually type RGB 121, 45, 45, and so on. I'm going to teach you how to use CSS variable to then reuse the primary and secondary colors of your website. So remember our original style.css? If you scroll a bit down, you will see an instance of a root element. And this is going to allow us to create those variables. So you create variables by saying --, and then you give it a name. And then you can specify the color. And then you can simply use that name later on when you want to reference this variable. So in this case, I've already created for you the primary color, the secondary color, as well as a couple of instances of different black colors. It is as simple as that. So now if you go back, the only thing you have to say is var, and then inside of there, -- primary - color. If you save it, we have this great looking red color. Why is this powerful? Because you don't have to remember the actual hexadecimal color code. And we can give it a z index of 1 so that our sushi man appears on top of it. And let's make that sushi man text appear by targeting it with .header __ logo h4, giving it a padding -left of 30 pixels, a color equal to FFF. This is simply white. So our next job is going to be move to our hero section. Right? We can collapse our header, and right below the header, we can create HTML5 semantic section tag with a class equal to hero. To get started with the hero section, we can start with its most important part, and that is this great sushi image that we can see here. So let's simply create a new div, and that div is going to have a class equal to hero-image. Within it, we can simply create a self-closing image tag. It's going to have a source equal to assets / sushi-1.png. And the alt tag can simply say sushi. Below it, we want to display some Japanese characters. They're going to look like this. So the best way to get them is in the description down below, there's going to be a link to the deployed website. Go there, copy the characters, put them within the H2, and then just paste them like this. There we go. I'm not sure how I would type these out with my keyboard. And then add a break tag after each one of these so they appear in a new line. Now, if you save this and go back, the website is going to look something like this for you, which is not that good. But I just zoomed it out to 75%, so even on my screen right now, it should be looking okay. Of course, this is not going to look good right off the bat because we don't have the styles yet for these letters, nor for the image, which is right now just huge. So let's just finish this hero image section and then we can apply the styles. Below the H2, we're going to add a div that's going to have a class equal to hero-image __ overlay. That's it. Now, we cannot keep staring at this huge sushi image right here. So what we can do is collapse this hero image div and then transition straight to the styles. Of course, the styles for the hero section are going to be within a new CSS file called hero.css, like so. And then, of course, we have to uncomment it within our style.css. As a matter of fact, now you learned how CSS imports work. So as you can see, we can have different styles for different sections to keep our code organized, but then we can import them all within one file. That is how the add import URL works. Now that you know that, we can uncomment all of these files to make our life easier for later on, and we can create the styles for all the sections we're going to have later on. We're going to have the about.css section. We're also going to have the footer.css section. Then we're going to have a hero section, as well as the popular.css section. After popular, we're going to have a subscribe.css. And finally, we're going to have a trending.css. Now we have all of these styles. And if you save the style CSS, we should be back at square one looking at this huge sushi image. So let's go to the hero.css and start applying some styles. First, we can start with the .hero div itself by giving it a display equal to flex. Then we can change the min height of the hero section to be equal to, we're going to use a special CSS calc property, 100 VH, which is 100 vertical height of the page, minus the height of the navigation bar, which is 74 pixels. So that means if you look at the finished site, that the hero section is going to always take the full height of the screen, exactly as it should, but we're going to subtract it by the height of the navigation bar. Now, let's also set the overflow to hidden. That way, we're going to ensure that content is clipped and no scrolling mechanisms should be provided to scroll outside of the clipping region. There we go. And finally, let's deal with that huge image by saying .hero-image. Give it a flex 1. Give it a display equal to flex. Give it a flex direction equal to column. Keep in mind, we're styling the div that the image is within, not the image itself. If you look at it here, you can see that the hero image is a div containing the image and the H2 and the overlay. Okay? Moving back, we want to also give it a position equal to relative, as well as a z index of 5 to appear on top of the other elements. And finally, let's deal with the image itself by saying .hero-image, target the image itself, give it a width of 120%, give it a height of 100%, give it the object fit to contain, and finally, let's deal with the overlay by saying .hero-image__overlay. This is going to be shown on top of the other elements, so we can give it a position equal to absolute. It's not going to be related to the other elements. It's just going to be there. It's going to have an inset property of 0 and a width of 100%. Most importantly, it's going to have a background color equal to var --primary color. Not vad, but rather var as in variable, and a z index of -1. There we go. So now we can see those characters appear in the background as well as the sushi right here. Now we can go back to our index.html to focus on the right side of our screen. Just for the time being, I'm going to comment out this image because it's getting too big. So let's simply do this. There we go. Now we can go below our hero image, still within the hero section, and we can create a new div that's going to have a class equal to hero-content. Within it, we're going to have a div with a class equal to hero-content-info. We're going to have an h1, a primary heading on our page, that's going to say feel the taste of Japanese food, and a p tag that's going to say feel the taste of the most popular Japanese food from anywhere and anytime. There we go. That's a good heading and a subheading. If we save this, you can see it appear on the right side. Let's add those buttons as well, the order now and the how to order. So these are going to come below the p tag. That's going to be a div that's going to have a class equal to hero-content __ buttons. The first button is going to have a class equal to hero-content __ order -button, and it's going to say order now, and we're going to have another button that's going to have a class equal to hero-content __ play -button. And then we can have a self-closing image within it that's going to have a source equal to assets / play -circle .svg, and the alt tag can be play. The button itself, after the image, is going to say how to order. If we save it, we can see those two buttons, but they're not looking as good right now. Before we style them, I want to explain one thing that I mentioned before, but now I think is the perfect time to go over it. And that is the CSS BEM styling method. BEM stands for Block Element Modifier, and it is a naming convention or a methodology used in CSS to create a modular and a maintainable codebase. BEM helps us organize CSS classes by providing a clear and consistent structure for naming selectors. And here is how to implement it. The three main parts of BEM are block, element, and modifier. A block holds everything, meaning elements, inside and acts as a scope. Element acts as a specific part of the component, and a modifier adds additional styles to specific elements. And this is how to use it in a nutshell. A block is a simple class name. .button, .card, .navbar. The element is a part of a block. So if we had a button, then it's going to be a button separated with a double underscore. So button __ text, card __ title, and so on. And finally, a modifier is used to modify the style. So .button -- primary, .card __ title -- large. In this case, we know that we have a element called title on a block called card that is of a modifier type large. And this is the same thing we are doing on our website. As you can see here, we have a hero block. Then we have an element, hero image, hero content. Then we have some elements as well. Under hero content, we have the buttons element. And then here we have a modifier. This is the order button modifier, and this is a play button modifier. So hopefully now you understand why we're using the BEM model to simplify the way we add styles and to make our style codebase a bit more scalable. With that said, let's proceed with the structure of our hero section. Below our hero content info, we want to create a new div that's going to have a class equal to hero-content __ testimonial. That's going to be a div that's going to contain another div with a class equal to hero-content __ customer, and another class of flex center. That's going to be a div that's going to contain the happy customers as well as this testimonial right here. So we want to say 24,000 happy customers, and we can do that by creating a new h4 tag that's going to say 24 span 4K plus, and then below in a p tag, we can say happy customers. Okay, this is not looking that good so far, but it will look better really soon. Below that div, we want to add another that's going to have a class equal to hero-content _ review. There, we want to add the image that's going to have a source equal to assets / user.png and the alt tag of user. And below it, we want to have a p tag that's going to say something like, this is the best Japanese food delivery service that ever existed. This is a pretty bold statement coming from this woman, which is great, but I'm sure she wouldn't be as happy with Sushi Man if the website looked like this. We want to provide users with exceptional design and user experience. So let's go ahead and turn our current website to look like this just by adding a couple of styles. Before we move into the style sheet, now is the time to uncomment our image from here. There we go. This is looking better. And we can start adding the styles. Now let's modify the title of our website, which is going to be this one right here, the Japanese characters, by saying .hero-image h2. And I'm going to move our editor a bit to the left so that we can see it. We can give it a position of absolute because it doesn't have to worry about the other elements on the page. It's going to appear at the full bottom, so bottom 0. Let's also give it a padding of 20 pixels. Let's give it a font family of var --playfair -display, font weight of 700, font size of a huge 120 pixels, a line height of 138 pixels, and a color of #FFF, which is a white color. Okay, this is looking much better. And now let's focus on the hero content. .hero-content. We now know that this is a block. We can give it a flex of 1.22. I found this value to work the best. It gives just enough space for the content. Display equal to flex, which is going to make the elements appear in a row. Justify -content of space -between. And a flex -direction equal to column, which is going to make the elements appear one below another. Now we want to target another block, .hero-content-info. We want to give it a padding of 64 pixels to give it some space. We want to give it a flex equal to 1, a display equal to flex, justify -content equal to center, and lastly, flex direction equal to column to make the elements appear one below another. Now let's target this feel the taste of Japanese food by saying .hero-content-info, and then we target the H1 element within it. We give it a font size of a huge 80 pixels, a font weight of 600 pixels, a font family of var --playfair -display, gives it that nice Japanese vibe, and then the color equal to var -secondary -color. Let's change this p tag below by targeting the .hero-content-info and then the p tag within it. Let's give it some margin to divide it a bit from the rest of the content. 32 pixels on top, 0 on the right, 0 on the bottom, and then 32 pixels on the left side as well. Let's give it a font -family of var --plus -Jakarta -sans and a color of var --secondary -color. Finally, the font size of 18 pixels and the font weight of 400. This is getting a bit closer to the final look and feel. Of course, the buttons and the testimonials are not done yet. So let's focus on the buttons. .hero-content underscore underscore buttons. We want to give it some margin as well, so we can copy the margin from the top and paste it here, but make it a bit bigger, something like 41 pixels on top and on the left. We want to give it a display of flex for the items to appear in a row, as well as flex wrap set to wrap, meaning if we don't have enough width on the screen, they're going to wrap one below another, and then a gap of 36 pixels to give them some space. Now we can focus on each one of these buttons specifically. Let's focus on the first one, .hero-content underscore underscore order dash button. Let's give it a padding of 20 pixels. Border dash radius of 36 pixels. Min dash width of 212 pixels. Outline, we want to set to none. We want to remove that ugly outline as well as the border. We then want to change the background to var dash dash secondary dash color. We want to change the cursor to pointer to make it clickable. Change the color to #FFF. Increase the font weight a bit to make it bolder to 500. Change the font size to 18 pixels, as well as line height to 23 pixels. There we go. This is looking good to me. And now we can focus on the other button by targeting the .hero-content underscore underscore play dash button. Once again, we want to give it a border set to none, as well as the outline set to none too. Then we want to give it a background. In this case, it's going to be transparent. We want to give it a display equal to flex and align items off center so that the elements are vertically aligned. Finally, a font size of 16 pixels, the line height of 19 pixels, the color sets to var dash dash black dash 200, and the font family set to var dash dash plus dash Jakarta dash sans. And this is also a button, so we're going to have a cursor of pointer. This play image seems to be just a bit bigger than the text itself, so let's modify it by saying .hero-content underscore underscore play dash button. We target the image within it, give it a margin right of 12 pixels to move it a bit from the text, give it a width of 46 pixels, and a height of 46 pixels as well. And finally, an object fit of contain, which is going to ensure that it always keeps the same aspect ratio. Finally, we are ready to move to the testimonial section by targeting the .hero-content underscore underscore testimonial. We can give it a padding of 32 pixels on top and bottom and 64 pixels on left and right to give it some space. We can set it a display of flex for the elements to appear in a row and give it a flex wrap property set to wrap, so on smaller devices, they can still appear normally. And finally, let's give them a bit of a gap of 20 pixels. And just to provide some visual interest, we can change the background to var dash dash color dash white. There we go. Now let's change the customer div itself by saying .hero-content underscore underscore customer. We can give it a flex of 1, which is going to make it take the majority of space, and then a gap of 10 pixels. Finally, we want to edit the H4 and the P tag, which are these elements right here, the 24 and the customers, within the hero content customer. So we can say .hero-content customer, and we want to target a H4 tag within it. We can give it a font size of 62 pixels, font weight of 400, and a font family of var dash dash playfair dash display. This is looking much better. We can repeat the procedure with the p tag. It's going to be just a bit smaller, so we can set the font size to 16 pixels, the font weight to 400, the font family not to Playfair, but to our alternative font of plus dash Jakarta dash sans, the color to var dash dash secondary dash color, and then the opacity to 0.5. And finally, we need to modify the review itself. We can do that by saying .hero dash content underscore review. Give it a flex of 1 to take all the remaining space. In this case, we have a flex 1 on the customer and a flex 1 of review, which means that they're going to both take 50% of the space. We can change it to a display of flex, align items of center, so they're vertically aligned, and the gap of 10 to give them some space to breathe. We can give some more space by applying a padding left of 20 pixels to divide it from the content on the left, and give it a border of 1 pixel solid, and then we can say RGBA 222 and then 0.1. This is going to make it barely visible. Of course, we don't want to turn this into an entire box. We just want to make it a border of left. There we go, to provide some space between the two. And the min width can be something like 200 pixels. Finally, let's style the image to make it a bit smaller by saying .hero dash content underscore review, and then target the image, giving it a width of 42 pixels, a height of 42 pixels as well, and an object fit of contain for it to manage its aspect ratio. Finally, we can style the p tag by targeting the hero content review, and then not an image, but a p tag, giving it a font size of 12 pixels, a font weight of 400, a line height a bit larger of 32 pixels, font family of var dash dash plus dash Jakarta dash sans, a color of var dash dash secondary dash color, and the opacity of 0.8. There we go. This is how it should look like. Now, this is pretty zoomed out. Keep in mind that I zoomed it out to 75. If we zoom it in to 100% and go back to the full width, you can see how it looks like. Everything is visible and it's looking great. Now, I see that there is a bit of a gap here between our navigation bar and the overlay. I hope you can see it as well. So let's try to fix that by going back, zooming it out to 75%, and then going to our header.css, specifically to the header menu, and then applying a value of 1.236 instead of 1.2. This is going to fix this gap that we have. And with that, we are done with our header and our hero section. So let's expand it to admire it in its full glory. There we go. Let's zoom it in. And this is looking great. Sushi Man hero section is now complete. Great job on making it this far through the video. The next section we're going to focus on is the About Us section. It's going to have great 2 images, a Learn More button, as well as the text about this service. To get started with the About section, we can collapse our Hero section just to have a cleaner working environment, and we can create a new section that's going to have a class equal to About Us. It's also going to have an ID equal to About-Us, so we can scroll to it later on from our navigation bar. Within the section, we can create a new div that's going to have a class equal to About-Us __ image. If you were paying attention to our explanation of the BEM model, then you know that this is a block right here, this section, and then the __ image is the element within that block. And we can create another one. This is going to be a class equal to about dash us underscore underscore image dash sushi3. And this is another element within the image. Great. And finally, we can have the image itself. It's going to have a source equal to assets / sushi dash 3.png, as well as the alt tag equal to sushi. If we save this, we can see this great image below. Below this div containing the image, we can create a button component. That button is going to have a class equal to about dash us underscore underscore button. And of course, we can say learn more, as well as render an image with a source equal to assets / arrow dash up dash right dot svg. And it can have an alt tag equal to learn more. If we save it, we can see a little learn more button at the bottom left. And below the button, we can essentially just copy this div we had above, paste it below. And it's not going to be sushi3, but sushi2, as well as the sushi-2.png. So we have two different images. That is our left side. And then on the right side, we need to have the about us, as well as our mission and the p tag below. So from the finished side, copy this heading name. And then let's go down below this div and below one more div, still within the section, to create that final div. That's going to have a class name equal to about dash us underscore underscore content. There we can create a p tag and paste the about us text. That's going to look something like this for now. That p tag can have a class equal to sushi underscore underscore subtitle. Below the p tag, we can create an h3 tag with a class equal to sushi underscore underscore title. And below the h3, we can create a p tag that's going to have a class equal to sushi underscore underscore description. There we go. And we can wrap that properly. Now the text in the h3 is going to say our mission is to bring true Japanese flavors to you. And then the description is going to be this right here. Feel free to copy that from the finished website. You should have something that looks like this. But with that, we are now done with the About Us section. So we can collapse it as well and then go to the corresponding about.css style page to start adding the styles. Let's focus on the primary div that's wrapping the entire content. That's the .about us, the block. We're going to give it a display equal to flex, as well as a min height of 720 pixels. Finally, an overflow equal to hidden. Then we want to target the image div. So .about-us underscore underscore image. We're going to give it a flex of 1. So now it's going to take the majority of the space. A display equal to flex. Now we're seeing them one next to another, but we still want to see them one below another. So we can change the flex direction to column. Finally, we can use a justify content to center them vertically. Then we want to change the background to var -- color -white. And we want to give it a position equal to relative. Now we can style the div itself by targeting the .about-us underscore underscore image and then the div. We can give it a padding of 32 pixels on top and bottom and 64 pixels on left and right. Then we're going to give it a flex of 1, a display equal to flex, align items equal to center, a background position equal to center, a background repeat set to no repeat, and a background size set to contain. This is going to be useful because now we can update those two background images. by saying dot about dash us underscore underscore image dash sushi3, giving it a border dash bottom of 8 pixels, solid, var dash dash color dash cream sun, and a background image of URL, and then we can put it within quotes, dot slash assets / about underscore bg1.png. And now we get those letters appearing right next to the sushi as well. So we needed to do everything above, as you can see, because if I remove it, it goes away, but now it's nicely contained below our sushi image. And we can repeat this by duplicating the entire thing. This time we don't need a bottom border, and we're going to call it sushi2 and bg2 as well. And there we go. Now we have different characters next to the second sushi. Now let's modify the images a bit by targeting these same classes, dot about us image sushi3, and then target the image itself by giving it a width of 225 pixels and a height of 200 pixels. That's more like it. We can duplicate that now, target the sushi2 image, and change it to something like 240 and 160 right here. There we go. That is looking so much better. Now we can focus on the Learn More button that is in between those two images. So dot about dash us underscore underscore button, and then we can start applying the styles. Let's give it a position of absolute. If you do this, it's going to not care about the rest of the items next to it, and we can give it a right of 0, meaning it's going to go to the end of its container. Let's also give it some space, like padding 12 pixels and 32 pixels, and a min height equal to 64 pixels. Finally, we can modify the background of that button to var dash dash secondary dash color, and give it a border dash radius of 32 pixels on top, 0 on the right, 0 on the bottom, and 32 pixels on the left as well. That's going to make it seem like it's going into these two images. Finally, we want to set the border to 0 as well as the outline to 0 as well. Then we want to give the color to the text of the button to #FFF, like so. We want to give it a font dash family of var dash dash plus dash Jakarta dash sans. Let's give it a font weight of 500, a font size of 18 pixels, a line height of 23 pixels, and a cursor of pointer to make it appear clickable. Okay, this is looking more like it. Let's just modify the icon within the button by targeting the dot about dash us underscore underscore button, and then the image within it. There we can set the object fit to contain, as well as margin left of 32 pixels. There we go, looking great. Finally, we want to add some padding to our content. So we can say dot about dash us underscore underscore content, give it a padding of 64 pixels, and we want to position it better by giving it a flex of 1, meaning that since this is 1 and the above left side was also set to 1, they're going to take 50% of the space each. Then we want to set it as a display flex container. We want to set the justify content to center it horizontally, and we want to change the flex direction to column for the elements to appear one below another. Now for you, the text on the right side should already look good, exactly as it does on the finished site. That's because you properly copied the starter files. So let me explain them. In this case, I am missing some classes that you already have, and these classes specifically are the flex between, flex center, sushi subtitle, sushi title, and sushi description. These are known as utility classes. When you're using a specific class often, you can extract a specific set of styles and then apply it with one class. Same thing is going to happen for the subtitle, title, and the description. We'll have to reuse these pieces of text often across the website. So why just not create a class for them and then reuse it? Great. With that said, our About section is now complete. It looks perfect. The next section on our list is going to be the Popular Foods section. So let's create a new section right below our About Us. It's going to have a class equal to popular-foods and an ID equal to menu. Immediately, we can render an h2 tag in there, and we can copy this text from the finished site. We can also give it a class name equal to popular-foods__title. Below the h2, we can have a div, and this div is going to have a class equal to popular-foods__filters, as well as sushi__hide-scrollbar. This is one of those utility classes we talked about. Now, within that div, we're going to have a set of different buttons. So let's create a new button with a class equal to popular-foods__filter-btn, and we're going to give it a class of active, and it can say all. So this is a filtering button. We can see it right here, all. Then we're going to have to repeat the thing for sushi, ramen, and all the other meals as well. So let's create a second button. This one is going to have a class equal to popular-foods__filter-btn. It's going to render a self-closing image that's going to have a source equal to /assets/sushi-9.png. And it's going to have an alt tag equal to sushi9. Below it, we can say something like sushi. Now, if we save it, we can see that second button. We can take that button and duplicate it a couple more times. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. The second one is going to say ramen. So let's simply type it right here. Then we want to have the next one and the last one. And we want to have the others button. So for that one, we can copy the all button and then paste it at the end here and remove the active class. There we go. So if we go back, we can see all of these buttons. And of course, we need to change the assets. So we're going to have the sushi 9, then we're going to have 8, we're going to have 7, and finally, we're going to have 6 as well, and 6 here. If we save that, you can see all the different buttons and foods right here. Then we want to render this content right here, and finally a button to explore foods. So just below this div containing the buttons, we can create one more div that's going to have a class equal to popular-foods__catalog. Finally, below that div, we're going to have a button. That button is going to have a class equal to popular-foods__button. And we want to render explore food and also give it a self-closing image of source that's going to say assets arrow-right.svg. Give it an alt tag equal to arrow right and close it. If we save this, this is looking, well, it's not looking good, but the structure is there. Now we can close this section and move into our styles. So let's go to popular.css. First, we want to focus on the div that's wrapping everything, and that is .popular-foods. We want to give it a padding of 64 pixels to give us some space. Then we want to give it a display equal to flex. and a flex direction equal to column. Now, the popular foods title is on top, the buttons are here, and then the explore food is below. Now, let's give it a background color of var -- primary - color. Okay, that's much better. Provides a nice contrast between this beige color and the white. Now we have the red as well. Let's give it a background - image as well of URL / assets / popular _bg.png. We cannot see it yet, but let's modify it by setting the background - position to be equal to center, as well as background repeat to no repeat, and the background - size to contain. Finally, we want to set the overflow to hidden. Now, when talking about the background, it's these little letters that you can see on the top left and top right. They're barely visible, but they are there. Now, let's change the popular foods title by saying .popular foods _ title, giving it a big font size of 56 pixels, a font family of var -- playfair - display, a font weight of 600, a line height of 78 pixels, a color of white, and a text align of center. There we go. This is looking much better. Now let's modify these filters a bit by saying .popular foods _ filters. Let's give it a margin top of 48 pixels to divide these buttons a bit from the top. Let's give them a max - width of 100% so they can span all the way till the end, and the overflow X of auto, which means that maybe on smaller devices we'll need to scroll over them. Finally, let's set the display to be equal to flex, justify content to be equal to center, and a gap of 24 to give it a bit of space. Okay, this is looking better, but now we want to modify the button itself. So we can say .popular - foods _ filter -btn. First, let's make some space. Padding of 10 pixels and 28 pixels on left and right. Then we want to give it a display is equal to flex, a flex direction equal to row, which it is by default, but maybe on mobile we want to change it. Align items equal to center, and a gap equal to 10 pixels. Now let's make them look better by giving it a background of RGBA 255, 255, 255, which is a white color, but then 0.05 opacity. Okay, it gives them that glassy look. Then a border of 1 pixel, solid RGBA, and then same thing. 255, 255, 255, 0.2 in this case. And finally, border - radius of 46 pixels. So we're going to round them a lot. There we go, looking much better. Then let's change the font size to 16 pixels, a font weight to 300, line height of 25 pixels, font family of var -- plus Jakarta sans. Color is going to be FFF, and cursor is going to be pointer. And we have our great looking buttons right here. Now, if we zoom it in, this is looking great. Let's style the images a bit because they are a bit too large. So we can say .popular - foods _ filter -btn, and we want to style each individual image by giving it a width of 36 pixels, a height of 36 pixels, as well as the object fit set to contain. That's going to let it keep its aspect ratio. Finally, we have to make a difference between the active classes and non-active classes. So we can say .popular dash foods underscore underscore filter dash btn dash active. We want to give it a background of white or hash FFF, and then a color of var dash dash primary dash color. And now we know that all is active. And we also want to add an on hover effect. So we can say .popular dash foods underscore underscore filter dash btn colon hover. So on hover, we want to apply the same properties as when active. Now, if you hover over these, they're going to appear as clickable, or in this case, selectable. Great. Now, if you remember correctly, there's going to be a catalog of different options to choose from later on. So let's give it some space and expand it a bit. We can do that by saying .popular dash foods underscore underscore catalog. We want to give it a margin top of 64 pixels to divide it from the top, a display equal to flex, justify content equal to center, align dash items equal to flex dash end for it to appear at the bottom here, flex wrap set to wrap, and a gap of 56 to provide a lot of space between its elements. As I said, we're going to dynamically add these elements in using JavaScript. But for now, let's focus on the button below. That's going to be the .popular dash foods underscore underscore button. We can give it a width equal to fit dash content. This is an interesting one, so you don't have to provide a fixed width. It's going to make it fit its contents. Let's give it a padding of 20 pixels top and bottom and 30 pixels left and right. Let's also give it a margin of 80 pixels on top, auto on left and right, and then 0 on bottom. Finally, let's change the text within the button. So font weight of 500, font size of 18 pixels, line height of something like 23 pixels, font dash family of var dash dash plus dash Jakarta dash sans, and a color of FFF. The border, as it usually is on the buttons, is going to be none. Same for the outline. The background is going to be set to var dash dash secondary dash color. And border radius is going to be set to 64 pixels to make it rounded, and a cursor of pointer. And finally, we have to modify the arrow icon, which we can do by saying .popular dash foods underscore underscore button img. And we can set the width to 14 pixels, the height to 14 pixels as well, the object fit to contain, and a margin left to 21 pixels. This is looking great. And now we are ready to focus on the catalog or the menu right here, which we left empty right here within our popular foods. And then we have our popular foods catalog. We'll be doing it with plain HTML and CSS as before. So what we have to do is create a new HTML5 semantic tag called article. Article is simply a card. It is an element that is a complete self-contained composition. This right here is going to be an article. So let's create the first article. It's going to have a class equal to popular dash foods underscore underscore card. Within the article, we want to have the self-closing image tag with a class equal to popular dash foods underscore underscore card dash image. We're going to give it a source equal to assets / sushi dash 12. And alt tag is going to be sushi 12 as well. If we now save this and go back, we can see that we have a broken asset. That's because I missed a .png at the end of the path. So if we fix it, this is looking great. Now below the image, we also want to give it an h4, which is going to be for its name. So in this case, let's copy it from here. It's going to be this type of sushi. And let's give it a class name equal to popular dash foods underscore card dash title. There we go. This is looking better. And then below the h4, we're going to have a div. And that div is going to be for the rating. So now we have to do the stars as well as the price. So let's give it a class equal to popular dash foods underscore card dash details. And let's use one of the utility classes called flex between. This is automatically going to apply the flex property as well as the flex between. Inside of that div, we can have another div. This one is going to be for the rating. So it can have a class equal to popular dash foods underscore card dash rating. And it can have an image for the star. It's going to be a source equal to assets /star.svg and the alt tag of star. And below it, we can give it a score. Let's say this one is rated a p tag, something like 4.9. Of course, this is not looking good right now, but it will soon. Now, after we gave it a score, we're going to go one div below and implement a p tag. And there we can set the price of $21. And we're going to give it a class equal to popular dash foods underscore card dash price. And there we go. We have the name, the rating, and the price. But of course, now is our time to style it. But before we style it, as you can see on the finished side, we're going to have more of these sushis right here. So what we can do is we can just copy this entire article all the way to here and then paste it 2 more times. Of course, we're going to make some slight changes. So we don't want to have 3 of the same ones, but for the second article, we're going to give it a new class alongside this one, which is going to be active-card. That's going to give it some background and make it active, such as this one right here, a bit bigger and a background color. Then we want to change this to sushi 11, as well as the 11 right here. And we want to rename it to, let's do something like original sushi. Finally, that one is going to be, of course, rated 5.0. And it can be a bit less expensive. Let's do something like $19. There we go. And then we have the last one. Or it looks like I accidentally updated the last one. So I'm just going to switch them. This right here was supposed to be last. There we go. The active one was the middle one. And then we have the last one, which we still want to update. We want to give it a sushi of 10, as well as 10 right here. This one is going to be called ramen because it's not really a sushi. So let's say ramen. And they say ramen legendo. Okay, that's interesting. And finally, we can give it a rating. Let's do something like 4.7, as well as the price of $13. If we save this, it's looking not good, but the content is there. Now we can dive into the popular CSS and implement the styles for what are yet to become cards. To get started styling our cards, we can of course say .popular dash foods underscore card. Let's give it a bit of space by giving it a padding of 38 pixels. Let's give it a min dash width of 260 pixels and a height of fit content. Finally, let's give it a display equal to flex, an align items equal to center, as well as a flex direction equal to column. So now the information is going to show below the image. Let's give it a border radius of 36 pixels. Of course, we cannot see it yet because we didn't change the background. So if we give it a background of something like RGBA 255, 255, 255, and then 0.05 as before to give it that glassy effect, and if we spell this properly, it's going to look like this. Finally, let's also give it a border of 1 pixel solid RGBA, and then we can copy all the values, but just change the last one to 0.2. There we go. We have some kind of cards. Now let's change the image of these cards by saying .popular dash foods underscore underscore card dash image and giving it a width of 110 pixels and the height of 84 pixels. This is more like it, and then object fit of contain. Let's change the title of a specific meal by targeting the .popular dash foods underscore underscore card dash title. Let's give it a margin top of 47 pixels to divide it a bit from the top, a font weight of 600, a font size of 24 pixels, a line height of 32 pixels, font family of var dash dash playfair dash display. And of course, we want to change the color to hash FFF for white, and then text dash align to center. Okay, this is looking more like it. Now we want to edit the details by dividing it a bit from the top. So .popular dash foods underscore underscore card dash details. And we can give it a width of 100% as well as a margin top of 32 pixels. Next, let's play with the rating. So we can do .popular dash foods underscore underscore card dash rating. Give it a display of flex so the star appears on the left side of the rating. Align items of center, and then a gap of 8 pixels to divide it a bit. Finally, let's modify this popular foods rating image by saying .popular dash foods underscore underscore card dash rating img and giving it a width of 24 pixels, a height of 24 pixels, and an object fit of contain. We have to change the p tag of that same card rating. So this time we're going to modify the p tag by giving it a font size of 20 pixels, a font weight of 300 to make it light, a font family of var dash dash plus dash Jakarta dash sans, and a color of hash FFF. Okay, and finally we have to modify the price, which is going to be similar to the p tag. So I'm going to copy it, change this from rating to price. The font size is going to be 20 pixels, font weight 500, as price is more important. The font is the same, and the color is the same. And this is looking great. Now, obviously, something is missing to make this seem like the finished design. Here, we can clearly see that we have one active element. The current one, the middle one, it's bigger, it's currently selected. So let's implement that active class name to our application in progress as well. We can start by changing the background. So that's going to be .popular dash foods underscore underscore card dot active dash card. And we want to give it a background of hash FFF, as well as a min width of 340 pixels to make it spread a bit. Now let's copy this class name as we'll be reusing it a lot. And this time we want to focus on the .popular dash foods underscore underscore card dash image. As a matter of fact, let's write all the selectors right now. So we're going to have the popular foods active card image. Then we can duplicate that and we're going to target the title the next time. After that, we're going to target the rating, but more specifically the image within the rating. Then we can copy that one. And after that, we're going to target the P tag within the rating. And finally, we're going to target the card price right here. So now we have all the selectors and we can start with the styling. For the image, we want to make it a bit bigger by giving it a width of 214 pixels, as well as the height of 160 pixels. There we go, that's more like it. Then we want to change the card title by first of all changing the color to var --black -500. Then we want to give it a font size to 32 pixels to make it larger. Then we want to change the rating button to width is 32 pixels and height is 32 pixels as well. Then we want to change the P tag itself by giving it a font size of 24 pixels, which is a bit larger than before, and giving it a color of var --gray -100. And finally, we want to modify the price by giving it a font size of 24 pixels and a color of var --secondary -color. And there we go. Now we have our selector, the filters on top, the popular food title, as well as the different selection of foods in the catalog. This is looking great. And with that, we are done with the hero section, the navigation bar, the about section, as well as the catalog or the menu section, which is great. Now, I wanted to wait a bit before I show you how to do animations. And it's for a good reason, trust me. I wanted to have a couple of sections done first before we focus on adding animations, because then you would actually be able to see them as we scroll through the page. If we just did them immediately, you wouldn't be able to see the full benefit. So now that we have 3 sections, it's the perfect time to start adding animations by going to the script.js file and scrolling all the way to the top. Inside of here, we're initializing something incredibly important, aos.init, and that is something that we haven't yet installed, so now might be the best time to do so. It's a special package or a dependency that's going to allow us to really easily add animations to your HTML and CSS websites. To install it, go to View, Terminal, and then stop it from running by pressing Ctrl+C, and type npm install aos. After it gets installed, you can rerun our application by running npm run dev. Then inside of here, we initialize it by setting the duration as well as the offset of the animation. And the rest of the things we'll do straight within the index.html. So now we can collapse all of our menu section or the popular foods, and we can slowly start adding animations to the sections that we have already implemented. So let's do that right away. Let's start straight from our navigation bar. Right here on the H4 where it says Sushi Man. The only thing we have to do to use AOS to add animation is to add the data AOS attribute. So data-AOS is equal to fade-down in this case. And if we save this, it should work. Let's try to add a couple more to see if we can notice it. Let's add it to this UL header menu. We can do data-AOS is equal to fade down as well. And just to conclude the navbar, we can also give it on the mobile. Data-AOS is equal to fade-down. But right now, the animations don't seem to be working. So let's debug it together. I just figured out that it might be already working for you. So within the script, we also have to add the import for AOS, which if you properly copy the starter script, you should have had it there already. Now, if we do a hard reload, meaning holding Ctrl, Shift, and R, you should be able to see the menu scroll down from the top, which means that our animations are working. Now, this was just the navbar, so let's collapse it one more time and let's focus on parts that matter more. And that is going to be the hero section. So within the hero section, we can set the data AOS right on this image, the sushi one. So data AOS is equal to fade. So the navigation bar is coming from top down, and this is coming from down to top. Then the H2 as well, we can give it a data AOS property of fade up. Same thing for the hero content, more specifically the content info, that can slide in from the left. So we can say data AOS is equal to fade left. I think you already get the idea. Then the 24K happy customers, that can be the data-AOS of fade up. And if we save it and do a hard reload, bam, that is good. So we can see the image coming in, the text is coming from the left, and also the reviews are coming from the bottom. Now, you're going to see this once you reload the page. Now, of course, this is only going to happen if you do a hard reload. Later on, it's going to happen for all the sections as soon as you scroll down. So let's implement it for the About section. Let's collapse the Hero section. In the About, we can add it straight onto the image by saying fade right, or rather data-AOS is equal to fade right. And then we can repeat the process with the second image right here, Sushi 2. And finally, the rest of the content can come in from the left. So the content, that's going to be fade left. And just to finalize, we can also focus on the menu section or the popular foods. So for the popular foods title, we can do something different. We can say data-AOS is equal to flip-up. It's going to have a special animation. Then we can do this specific filters where we can say data-AOS is fade up. And we can repeat that procedure with our articles. So right here, we can say data-AOS is equal to fade-up. Rather, that's not going to be in the article, but the div wrapping the article so that all three cards at the same time fade up. Now, if we save this, scroll all the way to the top and do a hard reload, now we can scroll down and you can start seeing how these animations happen. That is great. You even were able to see, if you scroll up, there we go. And check this little cool flip from the title of the popular food. Yeah, that's looking really good. There we go. So for our 3 sections, we now have animations and we are ready to proceed with the upcoming sections of the sushi project, which are this great trending sushi page. So that's going to be trending food as well as the trending drinks in this cool little layout. Finally, the call to action inbox as well as the footer. So let's get started with the trending section by creating a new section that's going to have a class equal to trending as well as an ID equal to food, so we can scroll to it later on. We can open up our page and get started with creating the layout. Within our section, we can create a div, as we always do. That's going to be a wrapper div, and it's going to have a class equal to trending__content. And now that we know that we can add animations, we can immediately animate it by giving it a data-AOS property equal to fade-right. Immediately within it, we want to create a p tag. That p tag is going to have a class name equal to sushi__subtitle. And it can say something like what's trending. Again, feel free to copy this from the deployed website. Finally, below, we want to have this H3 that's going to say Japanese sushi. So let's create an H3 element. And it's going to have a class equal to sushi__title. And we can say Japanese sushi. Finally, we can create a new p tag right below that's going to have a class equal to sushi__description. And there we can say, feel the taste of the most delicious sushi here. And I think that now you can see the point of using these utility classes. They allow us to really easily style the text exactly how we want it. We're just reusing what we had above. And that is what good designers will keep in mind. They will always reuse specific assets, fonts, elements, or colors, as we are doing in this case. Finally, we want to create this list of elements. So let's do that below this p tag by creating a new UL that's going to have a class equal to trending __ list and then flex dash between. In there, we can create a new li, which is a list item, and that li is going to be a div. It's going to have a class equal to trending __ icon flex dash center, and within that div, we're going to render a self-closing image tag. There, we can go to source assets / check.svg and give it an alt tag equal to check, just like so. Finally, below this div with an image, we can create a p tag, and this p tag is going to be the name of the sushi. For example, we can take the first one right here. Great. So now we have the look of one of the list items. And what we can do for the other ones is simply duplicate this list item 5 more times. So let's do just that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we can update the text inside of it. The second one is going to be this. The third one, this. Then we can go to nigiri sushi as well. Then temaki sushi. And finally, inari. There we go. So let's copy this. Let's make sure that we properly space it out and indent it. That's going to allow for having a clean code base. There we go. And finally, we can save it. If you go to the finished site, of course, it's not going to look good because we don't yet have the styling for this, but no worries, we're going to focus on that really soon. For now, let's do the right part as well with this huge image on the right side. So that's going to be below the UL and below one more div, but still within the section. There, we want to create a new div that's going to have a class equal to trending __ image and flex dash center. And within it, we're going to have an image. This is going to be that sushi that we can see by going to assets / sushi-5.png. And then alt tag can be sushi-5. And also a data-aos can be set to fade -left to make it come from the left side. Below this image, we can create a div, and this div is going to contain this arrow that you can see right here that makes this really nice layout that points to the discover button in the center. So we can create a div that's going to have a class equal to trending __ arrow, as well as trending __ arrow -left. Within it, we can create a new self-closing image tag with a source equal to assets / arrow -vertical.svg, and we can give it an alt tag equal to arrow vertical. Finally, we can duplicate this entire div with the image below, and this one is going to be trending arrow bottom right here, as well as the assets is going to be arrow horizontal.svg. There we go. And we can change it in the alt tag as well, horizontal. Now, if we save this and go back, it's going to look like this. Of course, the content is there, but the styles are not. So let's just quickly dive into the trending.css and let's start implementing the styles. First, let's target the main div, .trending. It's going to have a position of relative, which is going to allow it to have a normal flow. We're going to make it into a display flex, so we can move the elements within it around, and then make it a flex direction equal to column, so the elements go one below another, and the overflow hidden. Then we want to target the dot trending underscore underscore discover. And this is going to be a button that goes in the middle. This is going to be of a position absolute, and we can cover this later on. For now, we can cover on the part that we already have. So that's going to be dot trending dash sushi, as well as dot trending dash drink. This is going to be the bottom section for the drinks, but it's going to have the same styles. So this is a really cool way to giving the same styles to two different class names. We're going to give it a width of 100%, a min height of 640 pixels. Now, if we save it, you can see it's still taking the same space, a display of flex, and a flex direction of row. Even though that is set by default, we still want to ensure it happens. Then we want to target the content within the div by saying dot trending underscore underscore content. We want to give it a flex of 1, a display of flex. So we're making the inner container a flex container as well. And we want to give it a justify content of center, as well as a flex direction of column. So now we're getting to the structure slowly but surely, and we want to give it some space by setting the padding to 32 pixels, top and bottom, and 64 pixels on left and right. Then we want to modify this list that we can see right here by saying dot trending underscore underscore list. We want to first change the list style to be equal to none, and also give it a flex wrap of wrap. So the elements wrap in multiple columns if there's not enough space, and then a gap of 20 pixels to give them some space. Then we want to modify the each li item by targeting the dot trending underscore underscore list and then the li within it. We can give it a flex of 1, a display of flex, and align items equal to center, flex dash direction equal to row, a gap of 12 pixels, and a min dash width of 210 pixels. Now you can see why flex wrap is important. They're going to start wrapping in case there's not enough space. If we remove this flex wrap here, you can see they're just going to disappear. But if we bring it back, all of them are shown. Finally, let's modify the icon by saying dot trending underscore underscore icon. Let's give it a width of 24 pixels as well as the height of 24 pixels. Right now it's not visible because it's white, but let's change the background color to be var dash dash primary dash color. Let's also give it a border radius of 100%. So later on, once we do see it, it turns into a circle. And if we really zoom it in and go down, you might be able to see this white check mark, but we are yet to make it into a circle as it is shown right here. So if we go back to our index.html and check for where we have it, I noticed that I misspelled trending. That's why it's not appearing. So if we fix it, you can see the last one is fixed, but now we have to copy this class for all the other 5 elements. So let's repeat the process. There we go. And just one more left to go. Now, as you can see, we have this beautiful layout and we can zoom it out. Great. Now let's target the image itself by saying dot trending underscore underscore icon, and then target the image and give it a width of 50%, as well as the height of 50% as well, and an object fit of contain for it to keep its aspect ratio. Then we want to target the text on each one of these list items. So we can do the dot trending underscore underscore list and then target a p tag by giving it a flex of 1, a font size of 16 pixels to make it just a bit bigger, a font weight of 500, and a font family of var dash dash plus dash Jakarta dash sans. There we go. And then the color is going to be changed to var dash dash secondary dash color. There we go. this is looking great. Finally, we also want to add these Japanese characters next to our sushi image. So let's do just that by saying dot trending dash sushi dot trending underscore underscore image. We want to give it a background image equal to URL dot slash assets / Japanese underscore sushi dot png. We cannot see it yet, but if we add a new class on top called dot trending underscore underscore image, if we give it a flex of 1, a position of relative, a padding of 32 pixels on top and bottom and 64 pixels on left and right, as well as a background dash color of var dash dash color dash white, a background repeat set to no repeat, a background size set to contain, and a background position set to center. Unfortunately, we still cannot see it. It is highly probable that this sushi image is covering it. So later on, once we modify it, we should be able to see it. Now let's also repeat this trending sushi background image, and let's do it for the trending drink, because soon enough, we'll also have to have the Japanese characters for the trending drink as well. So here, instead of Japanese sushi, we can simply say Japanese drinks. There we go. And now we can modify that trending image by saying dot trending underscore underscore image and target the IMG by giving it a width of 254 pixels, a height of 260 pixels, and an object fit of contain. Nothing seems to have changed, so let's just ensure that we call the class properly. It is dot trending underscore underscore image and then the image within. So if we go here, we have the dot. Again, I missed the G on trending and I kept missing it for some reason. So let's fix it here. Trending image, trending arrow, and then trending arrow one more time. If we fix it, we can now see it appears right here, which is looking good. Finally, let's style those trending arrows. The code for styling arrows is going to be in the GitHub gist down below because it's mostly some repetitive code. It's going to be just making sure that they're properly fitting on the screen. So just find the code and copy and paste it here. We're going to explain it now, so no worries. We're giving it a position absolute, which means that they're not going to interact with other elements on the page. And then we're just ensuring that we position each and every arrow correctly as it should be on the screen. So with that, now we have our sushi, we have the Japanese sushi, but we're missing the bottom part, which are the Japanese drinks, as well as the Discover button to have a complete look of our trending section. So now we can go below our section and create a Discover button. So that's going to be a div with a class equal to trending underscore underscore discover. And we can have a data dash AOS equal to zoom dash in. And it's just going to have a p tag that's going to say discover. Now we cannot see it yet. It's hiding somewhere beneath the sushi, but don't worry, we're going to show it soon as we implement the styles for it. So just on top of these arrows, we can add the styles for the discover button. So right here, we can say dot trending underscore underscore discover, and we can position it absolutely. So position absolute. We want to give it a top of 44%. Of course, whenever you're working with absolute, you'll have to play a bit with the values, and then left 44% as well, and a Z index of 1. Let's also give it a width of 160 pixels, as well as the height of 160 pixels as well. And I just noticed that I misspelled it right here. So that's going to be discover. If we fix it, our button has gone somewhere else. We cannot seem to see it right now, but hopefully we'll catch it really soon once we add the background to it. So let's add a background color of var dash dash secondary dash color. And let's give it a border radius of 100% to make it into a circle. Now, if we keep searching for it, there we go. It's here. It's hidden in a place where it shouldn't really be, but we're going to fix it really soon. Let's also give it a display equal to flex. Let's give it a justify content center, as well as a align items center as well. Finally, we can target the p tag inside of it to change the text. So that's going to be .trending _ discover, and then a p tag where we can change the color to #FFF. We can give it a text transform to uppercase. And we can also give it a font size of 18 pixels to make it just a bit larger, a font weight of 500, as well as a font family of var -- Jakarta Sans. And this is looking good, but of course it's not positioned in the right place. Let's focus on the bottom section first, the Japanese drinks, and then we're going to ensure to put the button in the middle of all of these arrows. So going back to our index.html, I noticed a mistake I made when positioning this button. We're going to have one section, and that is the section for the trending food right here. But then this entire div with the trending content as well as the trending image are going to be wrapped in yet another section. So right here, we can create a new section, and that section is going to have a class equal to trending-sushi. So first you have to uncollapse both of these things. And then all the way from the bottom, that's going to be from this div right here, you have to copy it and then move it just a bit more up right here. If we now save it and go back, you can see this is looking much better now. Now we can properly close the section for the trending sushi, but the button itself for the trending discover is going to go within the larger section of the trending food. So if we put it here, you can now see the discover button appear there. And I hope this is now going to make sense. Within this larger section, we should have a Japanese sushi section, the discover button, and then the Japanese drinks. So what we have to do is just copy the entire trending sushi and paste it below the discover. That's going to serve as a basis for trending drinks. So right now we have this, but we have to move some things around to get the new desired layout. So bear with me. First of all, this trending sushi is going to be renamed to trending drinks. Then we can collapse both divs right here. And we want to move the div with the trending image above. So I'm just going to unselect this, copy it, and then move it above, right below the opening for the trending drinks. If we paste this now, you can see we're going to get something at least, but bear with me. And by the way, if you don't manage to get the same layout while we're done with this section, because of all the changes we're making, the entire code for this specific section is going to be linked in the description in the GitHub gist, so you'll be able to simply copy and paste it and be good to go. But let's try to make it work. So we have the trending sushi right here. We have the discover button, and then we have the trending drinks, inside of which we have the trending image. That's good. This time the image is going to be sushi4 right here. The alt tag sushi4 as well, and we're going to make it fade right. Then we still have the arrows. This time the first arrow is going to be arrow-top. And also arrow horizontal, as well as horizontal here. And then the bottom one is going to be trending arrow right, as well as vertical right here, and vertical here as well. If we now save this, okay, we're starting to get some kind of a layout here, and we're done with this trending image part, the left part. But now we can focus on the content itself, which should be positioned on the right side this time. So we can say trending__ content. We can do it fade left this time. What's trending is going to be the same. Instead of Japanese sushi, we can say Japanese drinks. And we can say, feel the taste of the most delicious, and we can say Japanese drinks here. Okay, we're getting there. And then we have a UL with a list. So a trending list with a flex between. The only difference we have to make is the name of the drinks. So let's copy them from the finished site and replace the names we have here. That shouldn't be that big of a problem. So let's go one by one, copy it, and replace it. 2 more to go. And this is the last one. If we now save it and go back, we can see the drinks, but we can see the layout is just a bit messed up. So let's see why that is the case. We are ending the UL here, we're ending the div, and then we're ending the 2 sections. This is looking good to me. Let's try to look into the class names. So scrolling all the way up, this was supposed to be trending drink. If we look right here, trending dash drink instead of drinks. Either way, feel free to modify it in the styles or modify it back in the code right here to drink. So in this case, I renamed the style to trending drinks, and in the index.html, it says trending drinks. So now if I save it, this is looking exactly as it does on the finished website. This is great. Congratulations on completing this part as well. I'm really happy about that. Again, this was a tougher section. So if something didn't work, as you can see on the screen right here, the full code for the entire index.html is going to be shared below. So feel free to copy the section for the trending foods and drinks. Now let's scroll all the way up to see the animations as well. And let's go to food. And you can see how all of them animate in, which is looking wonderful. The next section on our list is going to be a much simpler one. And that is going to be the call to action subscribe section for the email. So let's create it by going below this section for the trending food and creating a new section that's going to have a class equal to subscription, as well as flex-center, and it's going to have an ID equal to services. Finally, we're going to have an H2 there that's going to have a data-AOS equal to flip-down, and it's going to say get offers straight. And then we can put a break tag to your inbox. And we also need a P tag that's going to have a data-AOS equal to fade-up. And we can say sign up for the Sushi Man newsletter. There we go. This is looking good. If we go here, yep, it's not looking good yet, but the content is there. And then finally, below the P tag, we want to create a div that's going to serve as a wrapper for the form, for the actual email input. So we can give it a class equal to subscription underscore form and a data-AOS equal to fade-up. Within it, we can have an input, a self-closing input tag with a type is equal to text, and a placeholder equal to enter your email address. And finally, we need a button that's going to say get started. This is it. This is all that we need. So what we can do is close the trending CSS, but open up a subscribe.css. And as you saw, this section was much simpler, so the CSS is not going to be that hard either. Let's start with the main wrapper div, the dot subscription, which is going to have a padding of 64 pixels. That's going to give it some space. Of course, if I manage to spell it correctly. There we go. Then we can give it a background dash color of var dash primary dash color, okay, to provide some nice contrast, as well as a background image of URL ////subscribe _bg .png. If we save that, we cannot really see anything yet, but let's add a background position of center. Let's also add a background repeat of no repeat. And finally, let's add a background size of contain. We're trying to achieve these letters on the left and the right side. I'm guessing we'll be able to see them once we have more height. Finally, let's change the flex direction to column for the elements to appear in a column, and then the overflow of hidden. Let's continue styling the text elements, such as this H2, as well as the P tag below it, and finally the input. So we can do that by targeting the dot subscription and then the H2 element. Let's make it much larger by giving it a font size of 88 pixels. There we go. Of course, let's change the font family to var --playfair -display. Let's also give it a font weight of 600 to make it a bit bolder. Let's also give it a font weight of 600 and a line height of a huge 133 pixels to kind of make it space out a bit. Finally, and most importantly, the color of #FFF and text align of center will make it position in the center and provide a nice contrasting color. Now let's style the P tag just below. For that, we can copy the entire styles we just provided for the H2, modify it to P tag, change the font size to 18 pixels, much smaller, change the font to --plus -Jakarta -sans, font weight to 300, line height to 36 pixels, and then a margin top of 32 pixels to divide it a bit from the top. There we go. This is looking better. The color doesn't have to be the same, so we can still do, but we can do RGBA of 255, 255, 255, which is white, but then a 0.8 opacity. And of course, we have to close it here. Yep, this is looking much better. We don't even need text align in this case. Finally, let's focus on the subscription form. So we can do the dot subscription __ form, give it a min -width of 480 pixels for the form itself, a margin top to divide it from the top of 40 pixels, a padding of, I found the value 14 pixels on top, 14 on the right, 14 on the bottom, and then 24 on the left to work the best, display of flex, gap of 10, and a border of 1 pixel solid RGBA 255, 255, 255, which is white, with an opacity of 0.5. That is the border around it. And finally, a border radius of 46 pixels to make it just a bit more rounded. Finally, we want to style the input within it because right now it's looking pretty bad. So we want to target the dot subscription __ form and then the input tag inside of it. We can give it a flex of 1 to take the full space for now, a font size of 16 pixels, a font weight of 400 pixels, a font family of var --plus -Jakarta -sans. Of course, we have to properly close it. It's looking better already. Let's give it a color of #FFF and opacity of 0.5. Finally, the background is going to be completely transparent. And we have to remove that ugly border by setting it to none, as well as the outline to none. Now we want to change the placeholder color because it's not really visible. So we want to target the same input right here, but we want to target the placeholder by putting a double colon here and saying placeholder color is going to be just #FFF. with the opacity of 0.5. So now it looks like you can type in here and it's looking great. Finally, we want to style the button by targeting the .subscription _ form and then the button. Let's give it some space by setting the padding of 20 pixels. The min width of that button can be 180 pixels, much larger than it is right now. A font size of 16 pixels, a font weight of 500, and a font family, the same one, var --plus Jakarta sans. Finally, we can use the color in the button of #FFF, the text align to center, the background to var --black 400, the border radius to the same 46 pixels as the border around it, and we want to set the border to none as well as the outline to none and a cursor to pointer to make it seem like we can click it. Great. We're getting much closer to the final design, but of course we're still missing those letters on the side. So let's see if we properly name the class. That's going to be the one with the background, the .subscription. So if we go here, we do indeed have the .subscription class. So let's see where could be the issue. Within our styles right here, it looks like I forgot to add the /assets /subscribe_bg.png. And there we go. We get it right away. These little details make huge difference. As you see it now, it's good. This red color definitely provides some contrast from the top section, but the addition of those letters really makes a big difference. Wonderful. And with that, we have the last section to implement, which is the footer section. So to get started, we can create a new section below our subscription section, and we can do that just by creating a new HTML5 semantic footer element with a class equal to footer and the utility class flex between. We can give it an h3. That's going to be the title, Sushi Man. So we can create a new class equal to footer _ logo. And inside of there, we can put a span for the sushi part. And then we can put the man after the span. There we go. If we save it and go back, we can see it right here. Below the h3, we can create a new UL, an unordered list, and it's going to have a class equal to footer _ nav as a navigation. And it can have a list item with an anchor tag right inside of it that's going to have an href equal to #menu. And we can say menu inside of it. We can duplicate that anchor tag and li 3 more times. The second one is going to point to food, and it'll say food. Then we can have services, pointing to services. And finally, the about -us, pointing to about us section. There we go. We can see the list items on the bottom right. And we also want to add the social icons, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as well. So below this UL, we can create another UL. And this one is going to have a class equal to footer _ social. It's going to render an li, and each li is going to have a class name equal to flex-center, and it's going to render the image that's going to have the source equal to assets /facebook.svg, and the alt tag can be Facebook. Finally, we can duplicate this li 2 more times, one time for Instagram, and the last time for Twitter. If we now save this, we can see 3 white icons on the bottom right, but of course we need to style them properly. So let's go to our footer.css and let's start applying the styles. First, we're going to style the wrapper container by saying dot footer, giving it a width of 100%. Then we want to give it a padding of 20 pixels top and bottom and 40 pixels left and right. Then we want to give it a background. That's going to be a var of -- color - white. Let's make it into a flex wrap to wrap in case we cannot see all the elements, and the gap of 20 pixels between the elements, as well as the overflow of hidden. Finally, let's modify the logo by saying dot footer _ logo, updating the font size to 24 pixels, font weight to bold, font family to var -- playfair - display, giving it a text transform of uppercase, as well as a color of var -- secondary - color. And we can also make the logo clickable, so we can add a cursor of pointer. There we go. Now you can see how it's full black, but here we have just a little design element to emphasize the word sushi. So what we can do is we can again select the footer logo, but this time target the span element within it and change the color to be the primary color of our application. There we go, looking great. Finally, we can play with the navigation icons of the footer by saying dot footer and targeting the UL. Let's modify the list style and set it to none. Then let's make it a display flex, which is going to make all items appear in a row. Also, let's give it a flex wrap of wrap in case they don't all fit on the screen, and a flex direction set to row because on mobile we might want to switch it to column, and then a gap of 64 pixels so we give them some space. Then let's modify each item specifically by saying dot footer _ nav and then the li. We can change the font size to 16 pixels, the font weight to something like 500 pixels, font family to var -- plus Jakarta sans, and text transform to uppercase. Yeah, it just looks better. And then we can change the color to var -- secondary color, as well as a cursor of pointer. There we go. So this is looking great. Finally, to center it in the middle, we want to change the gap of the last child. So we can say dot footer ul last - child, and then we want to change the gap to 32 pixels. This is going to move it right in the middle. Finally, we want to implement the social icons by saying dot footer _ social li. We want to give it a width of 42 pixels, as well as a height of 42 pixels, and a background color of var -- secondary - color. Okay, looking better. And we can also give it a border - radius of 100% to make it into a circle. Finally, we can modify the image by saying dot footer _ social li img, and we can give it a width of 45%, as well as the height of 45%, and finally modifying the object fit for the icons to keep the aspect ratio. And there we go. We can now close the footer. We can collapse the footer section right here. And believe it or not, if we expand the browser, we'll be able to see the website in its full glory. Let's go all the way to the top to check out all the amazing sections. We have the hero section with the navigation bar and the heading that says "Feel the taste of Japanese food." If we scroll down, we can see a nice animation and we can see the About Us, where we talk about a bit more about our mission. Then we have the popular foods with the ability to choose different foods. Then we have the trending sushi and drinks. And finally, we have the get offers straight to your inbox as well as the footer. This is looking phenomenal. Amazing job on coming to the end of this phenomenal build using only HTML and CSS. Now, you might be wondering, are we really done? Is this website now going to work for mobile devices as well? Well, let's check it out. I'm going to go to Inspect and then toggle the device toolbar. As you can see, it looks phenomenal. You can scroll through, all sections still work, and the animations look great on mobile devices as well. There is an issue with this section on mobile, which we're going to definitely fix. As on the deployed side, it should look something like this. But no worries, we can easily fix that by referencing the final code and then updating this section. As I told you before, I know the trending section was a bit harder than the other ones, so the full trending CSS is going to be provided for you, as well as the trending section of the HTML part. So simply paste it right here, and then it's going to be fixed. Wonderful. Moving forward, we have the get offers to your inbox, as well as the footer, all looking great. And then even if you expand it to something like a tablet, you can see it's still looking good. Wonderful. Now, how is that possible? Well, we can do an analysis of style.css file. Inside of here, if you scroll down, you can see the media queries for each individual section. For example, this is the start about us media queries, where we have 3 different media queries. One is for devices of up to 550 pixels. Then we have one for the devices up to 750 pixels, and then one for the devices of 1024 pixels. And how do these media queries look like? What are they? Well, in this case, I provided the code for you because it's mostly going to be the same code that we were already writing in the About Us CSS file. But in this case, we have to make some modifications. So if the device's width is lower than 550 pixels, in that case, we want to maybe put the width of 50% instead of 100. We maybe want to switch the direction from row to column. This is something that you're going to see incredibly often. If we now turn this to a mobile view, you can see that we turn this into a column, whereas before it was a row. So you're going to see this happen a lot when working on mobile responsiveness. And the situation is going to be similar for all other parts of the website. The header, the hero section as well, the hero image title, we maybe want to make it a bit smaller so it fits, and so on. In this case, I wanted to provide you with all of these media queries already, so the website is fully mobile responsive right out of the box. In the upcoming videos, if you'd want me to show you and write this with you, we can do that. Just let me know down in the comments and I'll definitely include it in the upcoming videos. The last step is to deploy this wonderful Sushi application to the internet so that you can share it with your friends, potential employers, and put it in your portfolio. Not only am I going to teach you how to deploy it, I'm going to teach you how to host it and put it under your own domain name using Hostinger. So let's get started. To deploy our great application, we can simply go to View and then Terminal. Then stop it from running by pressing Ctrl-C, clear it, and run npm run build. This is going to create an optimized production build. In just a few seconds, you can see that all of the deployable files have been put within our dist folder containing the index.html, the favicon, as well as all the assets. So simply right-click it and click Reveal in File Explorer. Great, we can see the dist folder here. Next, you want to go to your Hostinger dashboard and then go to the domain or the hosting that you've set up previously. In this case, I've connected the Modern Business website domain to it, and whichever domain you chose, or if you didn't yet choose, you can choose now, then you need to go to the file manager. Once you're in here, simply go into the public_HTML folder and delete the default.php file. Finally, find the dist folder, then copy everything within it and paste it right here. Great, our files have been uploaded. Let's go back to our dashboard and visit our domain. This was a phenomenal project to teach you that design really does matter, and that implementing all of the design in the code to keep the consistency, the colors, the fonts really does make a difference. So once again, thank you so much for coming to the end of this video. It was a pleasure having you with me, and if you're interested in improving your knowledge even further, you'll definitely want to check out jsmastery.pro. There, you'll be able to go further than simply HTML, CSS, and dive into the world of React and Next.js. And once you're certain you want to make it as a professional developer, check out our 6-month web developer bootcamp, where we guarantee you a job and complete support from our mentors. That's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day.